Travis Wayne Goodsell. It's another day in the neighborhood. If you paid attention to my late night video, or yet last night's videos, YouTube is on the attack because a Mormon attacked, and YouTube is complying because the church pays YouTube through Google through investments, as the Business Insider reported. And so I'm being attacked because of that. Anyway, apparently it's what's called cancel culture. From what Bill Maher was talking about, and then I'm going over last night's news. TYT was again talking about this cancel culture, and I don't fully understand it, other than how the Me Too movement canceled TV shows because of actors who were falsely accused. Yes, falsely accused. There were some who were rightly accused, like news journalists, but there were several that have now been revealed as wrongful, similar to the Jesse Smollett, who faked the beating so that he could draw awareness to beatings. But yeah, it's a bad term in our society where we go after someone who is old school, to judge them by the new emerging standards. And in the sexual realm, it's extremely dangerous because nobody's being properly taught sex ed. Not just in Utah, but throughout America. It's not being properly taught. And women demand men behave a certain way, not understanding sex ed. And men likewise don't understand women, and it causes problems all around with this. You can't force behavior. I know there are drugs that force behavior, but you can't force behavior. You just can't do it. It's wrong. It's evil. And people get too offended too quickly, without understanding of context, without understanding of definition, without understanding background history, etc., etc., etc. And so, yeah, Bill Maher also talked about this as well, with the nitpicking over things, to get so extreme in their hatred and revenge that they want to destroy the person's life whom they refuse to understand, refuse to accept, and refuse to love. And so I'm a victim of that. When I began turning on the church because of what the church had done to me. That's what Mormons don't get, is they want to cancel my life, my existence, to protect and defend the crimes of the church. That's why this cancel culture is so toxic, so dangerous, so deadly, because innocent people are being victimized with it. And yeah, it's sites like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter that are allowing this cancel culture to spread like the coronavirus. And so, yeah, bad news. Yesterday, part of this cancel culture, which is positive, is the protests against the church and BYU for their flip-flopping on acceptance of LGBTQ. And so there were protests yesterday, and if any of you in that organization or supportive of it can get word back to those in charge of it, you guys need some help on how to properly protest the church. Now, maybe it's because of the closures at Temple Square. Maybe you couldn't access the right locations. Maybe it's because the church administration building is not on a popular street. The church office building is not the symbol of the church. I know it's a high tower, but that's not where the leaders meet. It's the administration building. And so, yeah, it's not the ideal place to protest, because not as many people will see you on that, what is it, South Temple? But ideally, where you'd want to go, and I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do it, is on Temple Square itself, behind the administration building, on the bench where the statue of Joseph and Emma are. It's the tribute to the giving to the poor through Emma, something like that. That is my favorite statue there in Temple Square, and I had often gone there, sat on that bench, and just looked at that statue, just sitting there, chillaxing. And but the reason why that's the spot you want to go is because directly across is an office window where the president of the church has his office. That's his office, right there. On that first floor level. There's a basement level, but then that first floor level, right there on the corner. That's his office. Unless they've changed it, because Nelson doesn't like having the old office where, but under Hinckley, that's where it was. And I'm pretty sure they would have kept the same place, as everybody has their set offices in the building. Just like the residence, which if you wanted to protest in front of his residence, you should have done that also, because that's right on State Street. Because you wouldn't have people only seeing you when they turn onto North Temple. You'd have people on State Street watching you. And people on State Street go up to the Capitol. So you'd get a lot more people that way. That building, right directly across from Temple Square, that's where he lives. Each president of the church lives in the penthouse building on the upper left side if you're facing the building from Temple Square. And so, yeah, as I used to go there in the mornings going to the temple, I would look over and see if the current president of the church was up and see if the lights were on. But that's his residence right there, his Temple Square residence. They have their main residence still, and some of them, like I remember Monson, would drive to his residence on occasion, but and thus visit the ward in that area. But once they become president of the church, that residence becomes theirs. So that if they don't want to travel all the way home, they go there. And then they can access the basement level and the parking level underneath, the tunnel system there. And they ride the golf cart driven by the security and whatever. So that would have been the more ideal place for you to protest, was at that building. And people are going to wonder, why are you protesting there? It's because he lives there. The president of the church lives there. So know how to properly position yourselves, guys. And so hopefully that'll help you. Should I do the other news coverages here, or should I just leave it at this? I think I'll just leave it at this. Just one last thing though. Remember, to protest in the state of Utah, especially against the LDS Church, is against the law. I know it's not supposed to be, but it is in the state of Utah. So just understand that, please. Be safe. Know that when you get arrested, they're going to force you to admit guilt in order to save your life. Because if you don't admit guilt and you want to take it to trial, as we all are supposed to take it to trial, so that we can say, hey, I'm protesting, that's my First Amendment right. I am not going to plead guilty. I am fighting this in court. They will ruin your life. They will hold you in jail indefinitely, postponing your trial as long as they can. And your job will be over, your family will be gone, your property gone. Your life will be ruined. But it's worth it. I did it. See how great my life is? So just be warned.